All right, y'all. Welcome to our special edition, episode 8. I think we're on right now.
I think we're on 8.
I think we're on 8.
Yeah.
If therefore, if I knoweth, thy knoweth who I am.
All right. Y'all understand in a minute why he's talking like this, and also why he has on.
Tis not know why you speaketh of me in that tone,
and why he's wearing the Othello hat.
I saw not, thou not, it not, see me not, therefore I am not.
None of this was in the play. I don't know.
Lies you speak of.
Okay. All right.
In case y'all, can't see by the backdrop and us at a table, we are in New York, coming to you from our Queen studio. You know what I'm saying? Astoria.
Yes.
Kevin and I had the privilege of doing a family outing with, my wife, my in-laws, his wife, and our dear friend Christian Dior.
Christian Dior, y'all.
And his wife. We decided to go catch Othello, the Moor, who thou stoleth, my dear Desdemona. We saw Denzel live in the flesh. All right. And so it was. It's been a couple of good days up here. Weather is New Yorkin.
It is definitely New Yorkin, but I love New York. And at Howard, it's very easy to come up to New York, right? Take the train ride up, hang out for a day. And I almost went to college here. I was very close to going to Columbia. So every time I come here, I have a lot of fond memories because I think of how different things would have been had I gone to Columbia instead of Howard.
I can't say the same. But I will say this New York experience has been one of the better ones, right? I did live here, or I thought I lived here doing Hillary, but I spent more time on the road than I did in my own apartment, right? I was paying $1,600 a month for nothing. Like I was there 3 days, 5 days out the month sometimes, right? So didn't have the best New York experience. I will say when I did hang out with my boy White Mike, he made sure I got home at 4 in the morning to turn around and go back into work at 9. So it was some good nights. But we are here. We ate some great meals while we were here.
Bumped into Charles Barkley. in the hotel lobby.
Hey, brother.
Yeah.
How you doing? And the stars are out for Othello, which, if you guys, you probably won't be able to have the opportunity to do it, come see it, but, read the reviews. Denzel did a fantastic job.
He Denzel'd. Yep.
It wasn't, like the, Denzel that you see in Training Day or...
There were some Training Day moments.
Seeing Denzel on stage is different than...
Yeah, that was... I'd never seen him in person before. And the theater, y'all, is not that big. So
no.
Any seat you get is going to be like a great seat. And the whole time I'm sitting there looking like, that is Denzel Washington.
In the flesh.
Yeah.
And you see him and you're like, he's not out... he's smaller than I thought he was.
Yeah, you can see how he can kind of just blend in because, I would always hear from Morehouse students that would just tell the stories because John David, his son, is a Morehouse grad, and they talk about Denzel coming to campus and going to the football games.
And you wouldn't know.
He just can kind of blend in because he just kind of looks like a guy until he talks. And then it's like, wait a minute. Now that's Denzel Washington. Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal, of course, was in it as well.
Scene Stiller.
Yeah. He plays Iago.
Yeah. Right?
The antagonist of the Shakespearean story of Othello, the Moor. But all in all, I think it was a fabulous production. Hats off to the people who helped pull it together.
Yeah.
And, you know, it got us to thinking and talking about, you know, and we're doing something a little different for this episode, right? This will be a little friendlier break from, you know, from the norm. If this was a campaign, this would be some downtime for us where we would go catch
OTRs.
OTR. You know, catch a movie, get a good meal, have some off time. And so top 5 Denzel movies.
Top 5.
Now give the list you gave the first time, because then
no, it might change. No, it hadn't changed. My top 5 are which is hard. So definitely He Got Game. Malcolm X. Training Day. What else would I say? Training Day. I would say John Q for sure.
Yeah, but say that, you know.
But I had left that one off the first time when I was going through it. But John Q is on there. And then who would be my number 5? Denzel. Gotta throw in The Preacher's Wife, because he did The Preacher's Wife with like my first celebrity crush is Whitney Houston. Yeah, that was like, so that would be like my top 5.
So definitely John Q.
Yes.
Remember the Titans, of course, is always going to be, you know.
Overcooking my grits.
You know, overcooking my grits.
Yeah.
He's lining up both sides. He's lining up both sides.
How could I have forgot the Hurricane?
Exactly.
The Hurricane.
Listen, that performance, and he should have won an Oscar for The Hurricane.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
He should have.
If you haven't seen it,
it
is one amazing movie.
Yeah, and when we was reading the playbill last night, it goes to everybody's credits, and he's been nominated 9 times and won 2. And
he's won 2.
Yeah, and
what's the second one?
Training Day.
Training Day was
Glory.
the first one.
Training Day.
Glory.
And then though you read that and you think like, okay, this is, it's gonna you would think it makes you feel good, like 9 Oscar nominations. Wow, it just pissed me off again, because I'm like, how you only got 2? Because then you look at the stuff he didn't get the Oscar for, and you're like, well, who the hell won?
Yeah.
What he got to do?
We need a researcher to look up who won for the Hurricane, during the Hurricane. Well,
that might be the year that pisses me off the most, because I think that was Kevin Spacey. And
for
American Beauty, but Kevin Spacey doesn't act. No. Kevin Spacey is just Kevin Spacey in the movie.
Well, so Hurricane, other one, Antoine Fisher.
Antoine Fisher was a good one too.
Right? Like, pulls on some heartstrings. I think he may have directed that one as well.
He did direct that one. So,
You know, don't remember Great Debaters. I know that everybody talks about
that movie was incredible too. See, it's hard.
Devil in a Blue Dress is something I love.
I never even saw Devil in a Blue Dress.
Great.
Yeah. Pelican Brief.
I was about to say Pelican Brief.
Fellow Southerner, Julia Roberts. Yeah. People don't really think about that part of her life, but she is a Southerner.
She's a Georgia girl.
Yes. And then what was her connection to Coretta Scott King?
Coretta paid for her birth, basically.
That's right.
At the Kings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her family couldn't afford, to had a high hospital bill.
Yeah.
And the Kings was like,
right,
got you.
Which was something, because it's like, damn.
Well, their family ran a actor studio.
Yeah.
And the kids
she grew up
went to the school
with the King kids.
Yeah, they went to the school and trained there, which was very interesting. Again, introducing culture to your children, right?
Yeah.
Something's very important.
Yeah.
So it got us thinking about other actors. Kevin's all-time favorite, his homeboy, like his man crush is Will Smith, and
he is one of my favorites. But one of the debates like that I always have with people is like the difference between movie stars and movie stars and actors, right? Not every actor is a movie star, but some actors like Denzel Washington are also movie stars. And then you get into some folks that are, it's kind of like a gray area, right? So like, to me, Will Smith is like one of those folks that's like kind of like in a gray area, because Will Smith is definitely a movie star, but like, do we claim Will as like an actor now? Is he like a, I mean, wait, Ali was good, but like, is he an actor?
So
really?
So, okay, here's how you determine like actor, right? Like last night I got lost in the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal was Jake Gyllenhaal. I was like, this motherfucker's a snake.
Right. I didn't see Jake Gyllenhaal.
Right. I saw a conniving, like snake.
Yes.
And he played that very well.
And in Shakespeare, y'all, it's not like it's rewritten. This is in the Shakespeare like language, and you got Jake Gyllenhaal, who's supposed to just basically just be there to look pretty. Right. And it's like, my boy was acting
his ass off.
Yes.
Right. So another one, Jamie Foxx. When he played Ray Charles, you got lost and you thought he was Ray.
So is he a movie star? Is Jamie an actor, or is he a movie star? And then sometimes you have movie stars that can act. So is he like a movie star that can act?
He is a actor, I would say.
Wow. Okay.
I would give Jamie an actor.
All right.
He
came a long way from the Jamie Foxx though.
Crappy movies.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll see what this second part of his life is like after he had that episode.
This situation, yeah.
But again, I don't think he's not going to give you a sellout box office movie like a Denzel would or a Will Smith. Perfect example. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a.
It's neither. I say that somewhat jokingly. Like I love The Rock for what he is, but like he ain't no actor.
Is he a movie? He's a movie star.
Okay,
he's a movie star.
Okay, I think we need another category for people who've been in a movie. He's been in a movie. I'll give him that.
He's going to give you a box office.
A box office what?
He's going to give you a box office hit.
You mean, is he going to punch someone in the movie? Yes.
He's going to give you a box office
there'll be a hit in that way.
His movies do well.
Okay.
They bring in dough. He's a baker.
Okay.
Bread, cheese, and dough.
All I know is Jumanji didn't need to be remade. It was fine the way it was, actually perfect the way that it was.
The new, I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm biased because I'm a Rock fan. So you need to know your role and shut your mouth, Jabron. No, okay, so Samuel L. Jackson.
I think he's an actor. I think he's been in some big movies for sure. You know what I mean? But like I think Samuel is an actor's actor.
He's one of the highest grossing.
Yeah. Well, he been in enough of them. Hell, Samuel been in about 400 movies. He been in stuff you forget he's in. I always forget he's in Jurassic Park.
He's over 100.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, he's over 100 movies. Yeah.
But don't you forget he's in Jurassic Park. I forget he's in Jurassic Park until he pops up. Yeah. With that damn cigarette. Yeah.
Please, goddammit. You know, once again, shout out to, you know, my Morehouse brother Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
Once again.
Yes.
But no, he, you know, okay, he's an actor. What about, we're naming men, what women are carrying that actor, movie star? Zoe Saldana, maybe?
She's like The Rock to me.
No!
I mean, it's...
No, bro, no, not Zoe.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
About to sound like my mama now. Well, what's she been in? I ain't seen her. What's she been in?
I mean, movie-wise,
she
doesn't do many movies anymore.
Because they stopped asking her to?
No. She has a TV show on Paramount, the Lioness.
Okay.
That shit is dope.
Okay. this is a controversial one. Halle Berry. Is Halle Berry an actress or is Halle Berry a movie star? Or is she a movie star that can act?
She's neither. She's neither. I have a friend group of high school.
Ooh, you starting stuff now.
It's high school. It's like high school folks and some college folk. We got the same friend group. Allison, who is considered like the doctor of movies and film.
Mm-hmm.
They be dragging Halle Berry just like she okay, but she ain't gonna give you no performance. And they refer her as Storm. She was the worst, horrible Storm. She just was like pitiful lines. Just do you know what happens to a toad when lightning strikes?
Well,
the same thing that happens to everything else. It's just like
I thought Storm, she was good. Dorothy Dandridge, that was like a savant moment. She was good in like Losing Isaiah. I think she can.
You're naming films in the 90s.
Okay, it still happened. It's still a
But
career.
like 90s. You can name Denzel films in the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, the 2022s, 2030s, 2040s, and 50s.
Okay, Babs.
Oh my
I mean, come on, man. She got some credits.
No.
No. All right, here's one that does not get the credit. I think she's starting to get a little bit more, but like Angela Bassett. Like Angela is a actress.
No,
that woman acts circles.
I think she gets the credit.
That is, yeah. I don't think she get enough. And you know who I really don't think get enough, particularly from the black community, is Whoopi Goldberg. And when you really look at the full depth and range of her career, like what other black woman actress has?
She was the first EGOT.
Yes.
She was the first EGOT. But you know why she
Yes.
doesn't get the well, that's probably not. That's me just speaking. It's probably because she, has always been married to white men.
So
No,
is
I
Halle
mean,
Berry.
well, no, she married some brothers.
No, she didn't.
David Justice.
Oh, well, David.
Eric Benet.
She did marry Derek. I forget about that. She probably forgets about it too. But
Vice versa.
but Whoopi to me has never really gotten the full credit.
I don't think people in these times truly understand the depth and importance of Whoopi Goldberg and what she means and represents, right? Like, being an Oscar host, in certain movies that she played. Yeah. It was almost like, she was a black woman, but don't put me in a role as being a black woman.
Yeah. And a lot of her roles weren't meant for black. Like Ghost was not a role written, they did not envision a black woman playing that part. And it was actually Patrick Swayze who had to fight and lean in for her to be able to get it. She ended up winning an Oscar for it. And so you got all these incredible film credits, that spans decades. And then on top of that, there's like stand-up. Because I saw her do stand-up maybe like a couple years ago. Hilarious. Really? Hilarious.
I didn't know
she was
still
doing stand-up. Yeah.
That would be a good thing for her to see her try to do, like one last time.
Yeah. Like she was like hilarious, and not only that, like she did the stand up, and then she takes questions from the audience afterwards. And so she was like incredible, and her stand up is so different than like when you see her on The View. It's not even like the same person.
A different Whoopi.
Yeah, it's a different. There's like daytime Whoopi and there's like nighttime Whoopi. And so when she does stand up, that's nighttime Whoopi, and she's hilarious.
And her voice on The View is interesting because she also, you don't see her get involved on the political level as being a surrogate. Like I've never.
No, and I don't know. I've not ever seen that. I've not even really seen her name come up, but it strikes me as I think she would do it for the right candidate if they asked, but I also think though it would have to be something very specific. and curate. Like, I don't think she's gonna go to the rally.
Oh, I don't believe in rallies.
You know what I mean? I think you know, because that's one of the things, right, that campaigns like to do. Or just come to the rally, we'll throw you up on the stage.
Yeah,
I think you have to do a little bit. It would have to be something different than that if you want a Whoopi to do it.
Yeah, you know, I'm not a big fan of rallies or the way they're being put on now, because it's like you have this opportunity with a packed room full of people. What are you getting out of it, right? Like, I was a big, you know, believer in, if you're coming to the rally, sign those folks up.
Yeah.
Make sure you're engaging them, trying to figure out, hey, while they're standing in line,
Yeah.
break them off and take them to a little tent and see if they can make some calls.
Yes.
Right? Like, have
Send
some
text. Texts.
right? Something,
Send
right?
text
Like,
messages. Yeah.
there's supposed to be a call to action, but you have an opportunity to get these folks to do action, because they came to a rally where they stood in line for over an hour, sometimes two, depending on who the special guest is, sometimes three, right? They come into an arena where they hear everybody say the same message over and over again, just in a different way. Just to hear someone get on stage to say the same thing, charge you to get out and do something, but then you don't have anything for them to do, right? So I'm not, you know, the rallies are just, you know, for me for show. You say, look at our crowds.
Well, isn't that? I mean, but that's, I thought one of the things we did, I think, plan to kind of cover a little bit today that we've been thinking about is I mean, what does organizing like that still look like in campaigns, and you know, do those tactics still have a place? And you know, now the big debate is about, what I see in a lot of my circles is digital, right? And has digital supplemented TV? It hasn't, but it's more of a tool than what people realize. And so if you can reach people as targeted as we can with digital, I mean, do you still need to organize in that same way?
Well, I think you do still need to organize, because there's still a plethora of people that aren't on social media. I think that, you know, there's a good mix of those who are on social media that don't vote, don't care to vote,
but engage with political content.
But
it's so fascinating. This is all they consume it, you know, and then that's it.
But they consume it.
Yeah.
But I think that's empty calories.
True, because like you watch a lot of rock movies, and you know, you wouldn't try a lot of that in your daily life. So
well, that's
right.
No way in hell.
Yeah. So I guess I shouldn't be that surprised by people that'll engage political content all day and then not take any action.
I mean, think about it, right? Like the people who are before IG became a thing, right? The, you know, people who were, you know, texting tough guys on Twitter and Facebook also were ones who primarily didn't vote anyway. They were just stirring the pot. So it's still an element of trying to understand who those individuals are that like to, you know, put their feet in the water but don't get in the pool. And how do you get them in the pool, right? You don't want to push them, because you don't really know if they care to be in there or don't want to swim. You have to encourage them to get in the water and join everybody else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I feel like too, and we've seen this on different campaigns, and I feel like to a certain degree it's gotten worse, but like I almost feel like we've gotten too smart and too sophisticated for our own good. Like I believe in data. We should absolutely use data.
But we're getting
but data isn't literal to me. That data is a piece of the puzzle and a piece of the pie.
It's dangerous, first of all.
And yeah, and also data, you can make data say whatever you want it to say. And I think sometimes we say, well, this is what the data says, so this is what we have to do, and we don't apply any other filter or lenses to that in how we deploy strategy. And the big danger in that is what's missing is a lot of times you lose common sense. Common sense just ends up taking a back seat because of something that the computer spit out to you. And we can't completely abandon that, right, with how we do organizing. And like, I give you like an example. When we were doing Hillary in 16, right, everybody knows at that time we were a lot more competitive in a state like Iowa. And the way Democrats always win in Iowa is it's the early vote, the mail, like not just the early voting person, but the mail. And so we didn't do really the kind of door knocking or mail to those people that we traditionally did in normal cycles, because the data said these people always vote by mail. So you don't need to engage them now. That's a waste of money. That's inefficient because they're going to vote by mail anyway. And what ended up happening was people, we got time and the ballots aren't coming in and we want to know what the hell's going on. And people are like, I think there's some sort of scam going on. My ballot always comes. It didn't come this year. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how I vote. And what happened is that those people are accustomed to somebody from the party or somebody proactively coming to their door and giving them the form to fill out to request their ballot. That cycle, it didn't happen, and people were like stumped because we said, well, they're going to vote by mail all the time. You don't need to talk to them first, but you know, when you let common sense be replaced completely by like data, right? You can follow bad strategy like that, and the same is the case too in some of Michigan, right? Not some of Michigan, but like in Detroit, right? As an example. Well, the polling says we're at this percentage of the vote, right? With African Americans, right? So we don't need to do paid media, door knocking, or anything in Detroit because we're already at 90-something% or whatever, right? It was actually showing less than that, but we're already at like 90-something%. Well, common sense would tell you that I don't care what the polling says, it's never a bad idea to knock on doors in Detroit and ask them to come vote for you. Right, you probably should do that.
But see, that's that element of getting lazy and thinking that, oh, we can just respond through digital.
We can just do a digital ad.
Right.
We can just
they watch TV because they're not at home. I mean, they're at home because they're not working.
Yeah. Or we don't need to give a targeted message to that community because they'll just see it on TV. We don't need to do digital. We don't need to do mail to them. They're going to see it on TV.
Or they still think that, you know, Mima is still running the family and she's telling you to go vote because she said so.
Right.
It's not the case.
Right. Yeah.
You know, Mima's not here because we can't get affordable health care.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Fix that. Right. So it's layers to all this, but back to, you know, the original question about organizing, it's still needed.
Yes, I agree.
I think it's probably needed more than anything.
Yes.
And this past election cycle showed you that, right? Like, you know, this whole notion of we can just do a rally or we can just throw surrogates or we can just build momentum and excitement because people don't want this guy to be president again. Joke's on you, right? Because he is president again. Or you didn't really motivate them or work hard enough to show them that you want the vote and you need them to vote. So they stayed at home.
And my thing with the two, and we talk about this on the show all the time, is like the last cycle, it's a bit of an anomaly because like we had 3 months. Like there was only so much Kamala could do in the time that she had. But that doesn't mean though that what you're saying isn't right. And what I hope is that people don't say, well, that was an anomaly. She only had, 3 months, so like that's why it didn't work, right? And we kind of gloss over, some stuff that should be,
but it was
apparent to us by now. Like we got some flaws in our strategy.
It was 3 months against a familiar opponent, someone that you knew knew very well, and you knew was capable of.
Yeah.
Yes, 3 months, but you beat them before, and it's not like you don't know what you're doing. You had people who were capable. Again, did they not agree on what was going on, what needed to be done, the strategy? I just know the trickle down didn't trickle down in terms of resources and funding the way that it typically does.
No, it didn't. We didn't. This cycle, one of the things we should take away, right? One of the things that shouldn't get glossed over, right, is this to me was like our worst cycle for organizing.
Absolutely.
And actually
Absolutely.
contacting and reaching voters and talking to them in a real way, like in their communities, and putting actual infrastructure there, like real infrastructure. I think to the extent we had infrastructure this time, it was very transactional. It was to say we had an office in that community, but it wasn't like when we were younger in really being organizers, right? Ourselves. It wasn't that you don't get the sense, like I talked to like organizers today, and it's just very different, right? It's about all these bells and whistles and all this other stuff, and not about how are you actually integrating and organizing yourself into these communities. And I think as we talk about what the next chapter is, what the next phase is, and how we kind of quote unquote come back, right, as a party, like organizing needs to be more central. It's not just why did you spend this much money on TV, right? And that was the problem, right? The problem is, it's not a conversation about like maybe we spent money it was the wrong way on TV, right? That's not really the conversation. What the conversation is perhaps like maybe we shouldn't have spent as much on TV. Maybe we should have used some other stuff to do it. Or maybe it's, do a better job at your spending on TV, but we also got to have more spending on organizing too. But it needs to be a bigger part of the conversation. But as you know this, and I say this as a, I guess I'm a media, I'm a media consultant now.
What else would you
I
do?
started out in other stuff. This wasn't always.
We started talking about then, Halle Berry.
Okay.
We're talking about now. What have you done now?
First of all, okay, fine. Media, I am a media consultant. My point, I say this as a media consultant. You know this, most of the people that drive the conversations, right, in campaigns around strategy and stuff like that, it is the media people. So I think as we start talking about, again, what the future looks like and how we build from here, you need to probably bring in some other departments, and one of those should be organizing.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to argue with you there. Right, but I think that there needs to be a evaluation of organizing in this day and age.
That as well. Not just so we put good money behind bad strategy. Right,
just like what we used to do, just going out there knocking doors, cutting turf. I think AI, digital, and, just people's involvement now of really being more active now and involved in more things now than 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, right? Like, I think the post-COVID era has changed a lot of things, right? And we kind of need to really reevaluate how we do things. I know I can't run a campaign the way I used to run a campaign, right? There's just, and again, like you talk about the tools, the bells and whistles, some of them work and some of them garbage. But nothing beats one-on-one direct voter contact. Right? Hearing someone say, yes, I know who this candidate is. Yes, I know what this candidate talks about. Yes, I will come to an event to support this candidate. Yes, I will donate some money to this candidate. Yes, I will volunteer for this campaign. And yes, I will vote and turn out for this candidate. And here's my vote plan. Right? Where you are, you are taught, I will teach anybody when encountering someone, one yes don't cut it. You need at least 4 or 5 yeses.
Yes.
And not just for voting, for volunteering, making a phone call, knocking on the door, something. You got to get them involved some way, right? Like when I ran the Obama office, I would have people come in there and say, well, I don't want to make phone calls. Well, I don't want to, knock on doors. I don't like that. What else you got for me? I got a pile of paper that need to be shredded.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Involve everybody.
Bow. There you go. And then
stamp envelopes.
I would put the shredder in the room where they make calls. And they would hear the people on the phones laughing and joking. And next thing I turn around, I see them on the phones making calls. Right? You got to get them, find a way to get them in. I had ladies come clean the bathroom.
Do that, and then a lot of times too, what I would do to get them, how about we just call the people in your neighborhood? I literally gave them lists from around their neighborhood, like, oh, I know Jackie, I'm going to call Jackie first. And they call, and that's the best voter contact. Like, I'm down here in the Obama office,
but organizers today they're just piss poor trained. I'm not going to call them lazy. I'm just going to say whoever trained you or didn't, primarily because they probably didn't.
But think about when they that's when we talk about how, like, we talking about like our time, like it was like the olden days, the good old days, right? But and then some stuff started happening that like neither one of us really like, right? When it comes to organizing. So when you saying who trained them, they trainer probably came up on some of the jacked up ways of organizing now too, and it's just perpetuating itself. But because I remember, man, especially on Obama, I would get back to the office and the people that I talked to, like I would write them a hand note. And if they say their issue was healthcare or something, I talked to them on the door, I would send them his healthcare plan. I would mail it to them. That was like work that I did. They got a note from me, great talking to you today, this blah, blah, blah about the senator's plan. I don't think they do stuff like that today. I think some stuff goes into an app and then that's it.
See, I want to get to the level of when we release our videos and we edit them, you tell that story and I insert that boy good. That's where I want to get.
It's coming.
It'll get there. You know, we need more listeners, so you guys got to spread the good name and good fortune of the Southern Comfort Podcast. Right? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And if our numbers keep growing, right, I can pay for some better editing, because me doing it myself just ain't cutting it. That boy, alright, he ain't good. He alright.
We getting there.
So, who knows what the post-Democrat life is going to be after this 2024 election, right? There's a new chair in the DNC. The executive director is someone that I know dearly. You know, but there is a lot of things that need to change. And if we're going to try to get back to the basics, again, I say this and I mean it so hardly, I think that the Democratic Party, the DNC, needs to look at branching out and opening, you know, on the ground regional offices and getting out of DC, right? Like, you know, DNC South, DNC Mid-Atlantic, DNC Northeast, DNC Midwest, DNC Texas, because it ain't the fucking South.
It is.
You know, and, you know, Pacific Northwest, you know, mountain, like, break it down. And really get invested back into, I'm talking about training, development. You know,
I think you should have regional offices with regional directors that are staffed like with the pods, like we have managed before. And I actually think you should have regional chairs. I think there should be. I'm the Southern chair of the DNC, and they basically kind of serve in a cabinet with the national DNC chief.
And get this shit rolling
and get it back going. Yeah, and you know, people have seen too, like a lot of the crowds that like Bernie and like AOC are getting. People want to be engaged and want to be involved. It's not like, oh, people aren't listening. No, they just apparently didn't like what you had to say, because they're still going and showing up, right, to see them. You look at some of Jasmine Crockett's stuff on social media as an example. So people, you know, there's a lot that they don't like about what's happening. They don't like us right now, right? As Democrats, the brand is like the lowest that it's been.
Rightfully so.
You know, I think I saw some polls had us like at 34% among Democrats. So a lot of work to do, but there's a pathway there, and I just think that we got to get back to some basics and some fundamentals, and it don't get no more basic and fundamental. It's just good old just organizing, and I don't want that to get lost in all the stuff with apps and data, and we got all this tech now and stuff like that. That's wonderful, but sometimes you just go talk to a person too.
I wish we had go back to the days of how we used to organize, which was the phone books.
I don't want to go back to that. Now I think
boom, bitches.
You know, because I remember, man, in Iowa not even have turf cutter, man. So we would print those packets out of Van, and then we would have to get MapQuest and like overlay all that stuff so that our volunteers knew where they were going to canvas. It was like I used to love it. Be packet land, right? I used to love being in the office late at night putting together all my packets.
When I was a union labor,
man, I just love handing them things out.
When I was a union labor organizer, and we were in New Hampshire, and I just touched down on the ground. Matter of fact, I tell this story all the time. Before, I didn't even know what New England was. Like, I didn't know it was a conglomerate of states, right? So I look up New Hampshire, and it's like 0.2% black.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't believe this. And then they booked my ticket, and it jumped up to 0.3.
Yeah.
I was like, damn,
Yeah.
I just changed it that fast.
Yeah.
But my
Locking you in, yeah.
my labor boss, my union leader, Tom something.
It isn't.
He said,
Their labor name.
hand me your GPSs. We handed my GPSs. They came to garments. And he said, hand me your GPS. And I gave it to him, and he said, here you go, and gave us an atlas. And said, this is what you'll be using to get around. And everybody looked like, what? And I was like, good thing I know how to use this, right? Because that's what Mama, like, when we went on road trips, she handed me the atlas. And it was like, tell me where to go, tell me where to turn, right? And so it was easy, right? Like, so I'm well, if I get lost, you know, I know to look on the north side of a tree and see moss and be like, oh,
okay,
here we go. I can look for the dipper and be like, this is where we go. But yeah, I think we got to get back to the basics, and we got to do it right now while the the opportunity is there, and people have the energy and desire to defeat whatever it is they don't like or don't want to be a part. So and if that's not just Trump, that is the outdated workings of the Democratic Party as well, right? So again, we encourage you guys to try to get involved. First you start, and I know it sounds weird that we say this, but first you got to start with your local county Democratic parties or organizations, because that's what people are who want to get engaged. And if you think you know how to do something different, right, try to learn the old ways first and then incorporate new styles and keep in mind. But we are going to be in New York. We got some other stuff coming, exciting stuff coming up. We're supposed to close out with a Mamba moment. To be honest with you, I can't think of anybody right now.
Oh, I mean, Denzel.
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, Denzel is our Mamba moment. That is consistent. You talked about it before, just decades, right? You read through those accolades, just the consistency and just the dedication that he brings to the craft. And like, we saw that just yesterday. I mean, this was like Broadway, and when you guys see the play, if you haven't already, like, there's not like a lot of props and stuff up there. Remembering all those lines, like, I mean, just so much.
And the way remember Shakespeare.
Right, it's a new way of talking, almost. Right, but he did an excellent job, right? And he always does, and he's such a student of his craft in the same way Mamba was. So shout out to him for that. And
also, he has a close-knit friend group. So he started out in theater here. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But he started out in theater with Alfred Woodard, Samuel Jackson.
Alfred. Is Alfred, is that Alfred's brother?
Alfredo?
Or
Alfred?
Okay, now Ruby.
What's her name?
Okay, now Ruby.
Oh, here you go now.
Okay.
Alfred. What did I say?
You said Alfred.
Alfred.
Is that a brother, or who is that? I just want the people to understand.
That's the female role she was gonna play in the new Batman.
Okay, all right.
The black man.
She's another one. She's an actress. Like, she's an actress.
Yes.
Like, for real. Alfred got.
But they all started in theater together, right? Like Tanya Richardson, Sam's wife.
Sam's wife. Yeah.
Viola. Right.
That's another actress. But she gets into movie star kind of territory too. But she can act.
She can act. When she cried, that snot come down, boy. That's my firstborn son. That's Antoine Fisher.
Oh man.
But
she's a great actress.
They have a group where like Sam and even Charles Barkley is a part of that. Spike Lee, they have where they really are. They pull their money and they donate and they charitable causes, right? Like,
I think Magic is in that too.
Magic is a part of that, right? And so, and it's unseen, and they don't want it for the glory. They just understand it's important to give back, right? Right. Like Chadwick Boseman will tell you, Denzel was the one who
paid for his
tuition,
yeah,
all of it, right? Like, and the work that Sam Jackson does. So, you know, their philanthropy work and charitable causes is important. Hell, Morehouse College wouldn't have lights in their stadium if it wasn't for Denzel.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my son needs to see what hole he needs to
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to bury my son. My son's going to bury me.
Junkies,
You know, so hats off to Denzel. We say it wrong, but it's Denzel. Denzel Washington. But with that being said, coming live from Astoria, shouts out to, you know, everybody that helped make this happen. Appreciate y'all. See y'all on our next episode.
Peace.
Bye.